Hello, Oracles. Well, the annual shareholder meeting for Tesla just ended. I knew I said I was going to be doing a live stream, but by the time I got home and got through the entire live stream, it just made more sense to put together a quick little recap for everyone because I know some of you guys don't have a lot of time. The annual shareholder meeting was a bit of time, so I'm going to go over the highlights from this meeting. There wasn't anything spectacularly new, which we kind of anticipated from this. The stock price did not move at all during this meeting. So we're just going to go over the highlights that we had in the meeting in just a minute. All right, so I'm basically just going to run down all the notes that I took from the meeting as they transpired over the course of the entire event. So first things first, JB Straubel is officially a member of the board. So this was awesome news. I know that there were some questions initially with some large investors coming out saying that they didn't want him to be on the board because it's too close to it and they wanted somebody kind of from the outside in there. That did not happen in their favor. We got what we wanted as retail investors, and JB Straubel is on the board. So this goes back to my whole theory of we might end up seeing a merger coming with Redwood Materials down the road. Totally different subject that we'll discuss at a later time if you guys were not there for that discussion that we had previously. So next up was an issue that came up with Cobalt. Obviously there's always been these Tesla Q coming out saying that Tesla is going out there in the Cobalt mines. They have child labor that's going on there. Elon came out and said, you know what, we will do a third-party audit. Heck, we'll put webcams in the mines just to make sure that we do not have that. But he also reiterated that the majority of their batteries do not use cobalt, and if they do, it's a very small amount. When you're looking at cobalt usage when it comes to batteries, most of those are in cell phones. So if people have any beef with that, they should take it up with the cell phone manufacturers. Next up is the employment. They now employ over 125,000 people directly through the company. They had 3.5 million applications to their company last year. That's enormous. So obviously can't take them all on, but that doesn't even include all of the other people, the third parties who are also getting employment from this. Everything else that they're getting affected from the supply chain, the areas that they're involved in, restaurants, teachers, and things like that, creating a whole lot of new jobs in those areas. And this is why there are so many countries out there that are just really vying to get Tesla in there because manufacturing creates massive amounts of jobs. Next, he spoke about FSD, extremely passionate. You could tell through the entire presentation. Anytime somebody brought up FSD, he keeps on reiterating how much of a step change and how much this is going to just completely change the way the world is. This isn't something minor. This is an extremely profound change that is going to change and revolutionize the entire world. He said basically like electrification is going to be very much like that. So we are going to be seeing FSD coming out. He said he now goes several days without an intervention, and he can see now a strong path in the growth that we might get to that point by the end of this year that FSD is better than a human driver. So we did dive into the macro environment, something we have been saying on here for quite a while now, and he reiterated it in his viewpoint, which is the next 12 months are going to be very difficult. And I've been saying 12 to 15 months, timing it all out, laying down all the different timelines along the way as to what we could see. Elon said that the macro economy is going to be very difficult globally for about 12 months, but dark times will pass. We will get to good times again, but Tesla is not going to be immune to this. Tesla is going to face the effects of this. This is why I keep on saying I do feel we are going to see a pullback in the stock price within the next 12 months. Elon said himself, if you see a dip, buy the dip. I'm saying that's not financial advice from my standpoint, but Elon said that. So just do as you wish for your own portfolio and what is best for you. But looks like the next 12 months, from Elon's perspective, is going to be similar to what we have been talking about. It's going to be very difficult. Tesla will come through this. Tesla's not going to have a problem. They are completely set to weather this storm as it is, but it is still going to be a storm that they need to weather. They also dove into the numbers for the Model Y, and they're highly confident that the Model Y will become the best-selling car in the world this year. He said it before, we've talked about it, we've done the numbers. It was very close last year. Most likely that will be happening this year. One of the things they also spoke about was the best accident is no accident. So what they do, which is great from a software standpoint, is all of the vehicles that are on the road right now are constantly getting software updates to make them better and safer. Not like other vehicles that are on the road, not like ICE vehicles, where in order for them to get better, they have to actually design the car better for the next manufacturing year. No, when it comes to Teslas, they can say, you know what? We noticed that we could do a better job of deploying airbags. Software update, bam, every single vehicle on the road now becomes safer because of this software update. So this is why it is such a huge step change going into EVs. And Tesla's not going to be the only one. Any other EV manufacturer out there will have this same thing when it comes to the software updates. So this is going to be an industry-wide thing that we're going to be seeing. But Tesla really utilizes this, and because they have such a short feedback loop, they can really jump in there and make these changes happen very quickly. Megapacks, he said they are growing exponentially. He said from a long time ago that he saw energy was going to grow faster than EVs. That is happening. Energy is growing very rapidly. They are selling as many megapacks as they can make. And right now they're pushing Lathrop and Shanghai to get to 40 gigawatt hours per year. But he can see down the road they might get as high as 500 gigawatt hours per year out of these factories to be able to produce all of these megapacks. So that's going to be huge down the road. Obviously, long way to go to get there. But the exponential growth, as we have seen with EVs, happening with energy, is going to hit us very quickly. They also announced that later this year, there will be the Cybertruck delivery event. This is something I have been waiting for, and I might actually take a vacation to go down to Austin for this event. I'm very excited for this. I got some information about my Model Y. Don't know when I'm going to be getting my Cybertruck. I have no idea. I'm way down the list, so I won't probably see it until 2025 or 2026. But with that said, I want to be there for the delivery event if I can possibly make that. So once we get more information about that, I will let you guys know. But that event is going to be coming out. So he has reiterated that yes, Cybertruck production and deliveries will happen this year. But he also did state that it's going to be like an S curve. New manufacturing process, new vehicle design. Is going to be a very slow ramp to start, but once it gets going, it's going to take off. Very much like we saw with Berlin and Austin when both of those started ramping, just very slow, but now they're both taking off and both are at 5,000 vehicles per week. He did say that when it comes to vehicle production for the Cybertruck, they're looking at 250,000 per year, but it's really going to come down to demand. They'll produce as many as people want, so if it goes up to 500,000 per year, so be it. But it's also going to come down to how can they minimize the cost of production as well along the way to make it more affordable for people. So, of course, we got no information about pricing or any of that, but I'm sure we will get that within the next few months. Now, he did talk about the next products that are coming out. Of course, no details on them whatsoever, he says, and those need to have their own event for them. So we will be hearing about them, but he did say that they are working on 2 new products. And he did say that these 2 products combined will be about 5 million units per year combined. So assuming one of them is going to be the compact car, don't know what the other one's going to be, whether it's going to be the cyber van. That would make sense if it goes together. We'll find out in due time, but he says they are working on these 2 new products. They did speak about Optimus. So Optimus, they showed a video of Optimus. There's several of them walking around the factory. Definitely a good step progress from the last time we saw the videos. They're doing some more of the tasks. Still a very long way to go to get these out there. But Elon said that the very long-term value of this company is going to be around Optimus. So that's going to be the massive piece in the future, stating that, think about the total addressable market. Everybody's going to basically want to have one. Think about sort of like cell phones. Some people may have more than one of them. So if we have a population of 10 billion people down the road, you may see 10 to 20 billion Optimus robots out there. Just do the revenue numbers on those. That's absolute insanity. You put software on top of that, FSD, because that's basically the same exact thing that they're using. He did state that the FSD that they're using in the vehicles is basic real world AI that's going to be used in whatever you want it to be used in. So that's the same technology that's going to be used in Optimus. So it's going to be an easy transition. Take it from the vehicles, put it right into Optimus, done. So you can have that transition in AI coming over very quickly. Now, someone did ask about whether they were going to be building a Tesla RV. Elon did say that they do not have any plans right now to build an RV, but he did say that, there are different things that they could put on the Cybertruck, but they're actually looking at the Cybertruck to be something that they want third-party vendors to come out and create whatever they can for this. We've already seen the Cyberlander that's out there. He said that there's a lot of different hookup points that are going to be all over the Cybertruck. lots of versatility for third-party manufacturers to make some pretty awesome stuff for it. And he did state in the questions that, his health is, he's running around constantly, always getting beat up by the media, so much stuff going on, working his butt off. And he said, now that Twitter has a CEO with Linda coming on board, he can step away from that a bit, frees himself up to come back to Tesla. So he also reiterated that he is not stepping down as CEO of Tesla. So it'll be nice to see him be able to come over and kind of, not be as stressed out from the Twitter side of things once Linda comes into play. And then he can focus more on Tesla and really take off from there. Now, someone asked about the financing, because that's a question that some people had been asking is, why doesn't Tesla take on financing and maybe do some longer loans, some maybe 10-year loans to help these people so they can get more sales out there? Because a lot of people look at purchasing a vehicle from a month-to-month standpoint of what is my monthly payment on this? So if you took the vehicle out to a 10-year loan, you can obviously drop down your monthly payments. Elon stated that they don't have enough capital right now to be able to do the financing. So they have to rely on the banks for that. And because there's a lot of banks right now that are kind of on the edge of, potential death, their focus is not going to be on automobile loans. So he said right now it's not something that's kind of viable, and it's really up to the banks to come up with that decision. So that's kind of off the plate for Tesla to deal with at the moment. Now, the big one is Meet Kevin actually came out and asked a question about advertising, saying, hey, Netflix does advertising in this manner. There's a lot of information that's out there that people within the Tesla sphere know what's going on with Tesla, but outside of that, they don't really get it. So Elon said, you know what? Those are some very viable points. A lot of things that you guys had mentioned on here as well are things that Meet Kevin had said in his question. So Elon said, you know what? We will advertise. So Tesla is going to be advertising. And there was a big applause when he said that he was going to do that. And Elon's like, well, I didn't realize that it was that big for everyone, but you know what? They're going to be advertising. So pay attention. I'm sure we will see some advertising coming out from Tesla. What it's going to be, I do not know, but I think it's going to be a lot of educational stuff that, hey, did you know Teslas are more affordable than you think? Did you know that Teslas are this safe? I think it's going to be some advertising very much like that, but we'll have to wait and see. Someone did ask about the Roadster. Elon said they are still working on design, but it is like the cherry on the top, so obviously not a top priority, but they're working on the design. They're expected to be finishing with that by the end of this year and potentially hit production next year. Said no guarantees. This isn't going to be this is set in stone, but he said that is their tentative plan, is to start production on the Roadster next year. Now, we got some awesome questions from some of our friends on here. Eva McMillan came out and she had a question about insurance in Florida, saying, there's more and more people that have Teslas down there and they want insurance. So they confirmed that they will be seeing insurance coming to Florida by the end of this year. And then they also had Alexandra on there. I was so happy seeing all of my friends out there asking questions. This was awesome. So Alexandra came out asking Elon what he thought peak margins could potentially be for vehicles when you put in software as a service and then energy. So he said, doing rough numbers, obviously it's just huge rough projections, you could potentially see 80% margins on these vehicles when you're adding the software into them. So when you start looking at software companies, this is when you go back to, Tesla's more of a software company than an EV company. Down the road, you're looking at 80% margins on these, totally possible. Then he said, when it comes to energy, they're looking at, 25 to 30% margins at the peak, most likely, because you're not going to have that software as a service add-on, but still 25 to 30% margins on energy. That's pretty significant also, especially looking at the exponential growth we're taking on them. Someone also came out and asked, and this is one of the things I love about Elon, is he's like, hey, I've got the Model X Plaid. Can we get track mode on it? And Elon's like, yeah, sure, we can make that happen. Like, dude, that's what kind of, shareholder event we have here when it comes to Tesla is somebody says, hey, this is a great suggestion. Can we do this? And Elon's like, yeah, sure. Why not? That doesn't happen anywhere else. You tell me what other shareholder meeting is out there that you have just anybody coming up here and Elon's like, yeah, hey, we'll just ask questions ad hoc. Everybody just get in line, first come, first serve, ask me whatever questions you want. Could you imagine if our government did that? It'd friggin' collapse. So it's unbelievable. So it's awesome that Elon did this and he just takes a suggestion and says, yep, we're good to go. We'll do that. Somebody else asked a question about, doing, some sort of podcast and questionnaire after an earnings call. And he was like, yeah, we could do a podcast for like a half an hour afterwards to do, a follow-up for questions. Dude, that's awesome. Awesome to see this kind of stuff and just total transparency when it comes to the company and any of the questions that people have. So then one of the last questions, Gary Black got to get out there. I know his question was missed at one of the last meetings, so it was great to have him out. And so he was asking about the Model Y, specifically the Model Y, because it's anticipated to be the best-selling car of the year this year, asking about what the strategy is for pricing. And so Elon kind of reiterated something he had said in the past, which is it's really based upon demand. If demand, tells us that they should go up on the prices or down on the prices, they're going to do so. And again, we've talked about it where it comes down to the balance of production versus demand. Where are they going to be going when it comes to the pricing? And he said they're really no different than any other car manufacturer out there. Every single one of these companies that's out there changes prices on a regular basis like this. The difference between Tesla and the legacy automotive makers is Tesla doesn't have dealerships. It goes right to consumer. So when it's a legacy automotive maker, their dealerships will see those prices going up and down. Then they get different incentives off of different things. When it comes to Tesla, it's direct to consumer. So the consumer is like the dealership. We see all of these prices going up and down. If the legacy automotive makers were as transparent with their pricing with dealerships as Tesla is with their consumers, we would see the exact same movements in all of their pricing as well. Really no different. And so the strategy for them isn't going to be a strategy that he can really tell us because it's all going to be based upon demand over the next year when it comes to, is production doing well? Are interest rates doing well? Do people want to buy cars? What's financing looking like? All of those different things are going to come into play. So that's how the pricing is going to sway over the course of the year. So all in all, that were the basic highlights of it. You guys can let us know in the comments below if there's any other big takeaways that you guys had from this meeting. So again, I knew going into it wasn't going to be any big event that we were going to get some surprises. It was more of a clarification meeting, and we got exactly that. So I was very happy with the meeting and how it went, but the stock price moved just as I thought it would, and it didn't budge at all. But again, next 12 months could be very dicey. So just be ready. Be an agile investor. I am still going to keep on doing my whole entire strategy, adding every single day. I'm now adding more into TSLY also, but I'm also going to dollar cost average into that, playing some of those dividends and getting as much cash flow generation as I possibly can. Because if we're going to get some great buying opportunities over the next 12 months, I want to be ready to take advantage of those. Not financial advice. That's what I'm doing. If you think it'll work for you, that's awesome. So that's all I've got for you guys. Hopefully that was a good sum up and wrap up for you. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a great one.